Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally that girl in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to be teaching you another Sephardic-Turkish recipe that has been handed down in my family for generations. This recipe, like many of the others, means a whole lot to me. It is a recipe that my grandmother and my mom have made before me, and I'm guessing that probably my grandmother's mom and her grandmother also made them. So it is a really special recipe. These are the way that I learned how to make them from my mom and my grandma, and you are going to absolutely love them. They are pretty easy to come together, and they are absolutely delicious. So let's not wait another second. Let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3 large eggs plus 1 more egg separate, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, nonpareils or sesame seeds or both, and some nonstick cooking spray. You will also need a large bowl, a medium bowl, and a small bowl. You will need a fork and a pastry brush, a sharp knife, a couple of nice size baking sheets, some parchment paper, some dry measuring cups, some measuring spoons, and a wet measuring cup. So now that we have all of our ingredients and our tools together, let's get started on making our biscochitos. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add your flour to your large bowl. And then to that flour, you are going to want to add your baking powder. Now, once your baking powder is in, I like to grab a large fork, kind of like a serving fork, if you would, and I use it to combine the dry ingredients, making sure that the baking powder is well incorporated and distributed in the flour. Now set this bowl aside for a moment and grab your medium bowl, and into it crack 3 large eggs. Now beat those eggs very well with a fork. Now grab your sugar, and we are going to add it into our eggs. Now grab your oil and also pour it in. And lastly, grab your pure vanilla extract, and we are going to also add that. Now once again, grab your fork and beat the mixture until all the ingredients are well combined. You are going to notice that as you beat the mixture, the ingredients start to come together and the mixture starts to thicken up. So once the ingredients have come together and the mixture has thickened, then it's time to move on to incorporate our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients. So bring over your large bowl, and to it we are going to add our wet mixture. Make sure that you scrape off all the yummy goodness. Now, using your large fork, start stirring your mixture so that you can incorporate all of the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Notice how I turn my bowl as I work so that the bowl and the fork help me to incorporate the ingredients. The idea is to no longer see any white flour. Once we start to bring everything together, you are going to notice that the mixture starts to take on a darker color and it starts to form pebbles. That's what you're looking for, the appearance of pebbles. Once you get to that point, then you are going to clean off your fork and you're going to switch to working with your hands. So just grab your dough and little by little bring it together with your hands until you form a nice cohesive ball of dough. You will know your dough is ready when you no longer see any white flour and the dough is able to pick up any random pieces of dough that may have been left behind in the bowl. You can clean the sides of the bowl with the dough and everything will stick to it and it will form a nice ball of dough. When your dough is ready, this is what it should look like. At that point, you're going to want to cover your dough either with plastic wrap or a clean kitchen towel or a dough cover. The reason we do this is because we need to let our dough rest and truly come together before we start shaping our dough and making our wonderful biscochitos. So set a kitchen timer and fill yourself with a little bit of patience because we need to wait a full hour until our dough is ready to be worked with. Once the hour has passed, it is time to preheat our oven. I am using a convection oven, so I am going to be preheating my oven to 350 degrees. But if you are using a still oven, then set it to 375 degrees. So now we are going to prepare our baking sheets. So just grab some parchment paper and cover your baking sheet with it, and then give that parchment paper a nice spray of nonstick cooking spray. Then repeat the process for a second tray. You're going to need 2 trays because this recipe makes 30 biscochitos, and we do need a little space in between them as they bake. So prepare 2 nice sized trays. So now uncover your bowl, and now it's time to portion out our dough. I'm going to be forming 30 small balls, kind of the size of maybe a ping pong ball or just a little bit smaller than that. And I'm going to portion 30 of these because that is going to make it easier to then shape my biscochitos and make sure that they're all very similar in size and that I get 30 out of my recipe. So I recommend that you portion your dough before you start shaping your biscochitos. So once you've portioned out your dough, it is then time to shape your biscochitos. I'm going to be teaching you 3 different ways to shape them, and you can choose whichever shape you're more comfortable with or whichever shape you prefer. I am going to first teach you how to do it the simplest way, which is just rolling out your dough until it is about between 5 or 6 inches or so in length. And then once you've done so, the way I'm doing it right there on your counter, then you can bring the ends together and just form a circle. This is the easiest one, I believe. It's just bringing it together, making a circle, just gently pinching the ends together, and then that's it. The biscochito has been shaped. All you have to do is gently transfer it onto your baking sheet. The second way is very similar. We're going to start exactly the same way, rolling it out first in our hands and then on our counter, the same length as we did the first time. And we are going to bring it together in a circle the same way we did with the first one. But this time we are going to use our knife and we are just going to cut a few slits around the biscochito to kind of give it a little bit more of a fun shape. So this one is also very simple, very easy to do. Just follow the same procedure as we did the first time and then use your knife and give it a few little slits and then gently grab it and once again place it on your baking sheet. So now I'm going to be teaching you how to make the third and final way that I like to shape my biscochitos, and this one is actually my personal favorite. So I start off in my hand and then I transfer to my counter the same way I had done before, but the difference is that this time I'm going to be making it twice the length that I did in the prior 2 examples. And why am I doing that? Because I'm going to twist this one. So the end result will be the same thickness, but it's going to give it a really pretty twisty shape. So you just have to be a little more delicate so that you don't crack the dough as you stretch it. And then if you do, it's okay, make a ball and start over again. So bring it together and just kind of fold it over the way I did here, gently. And then you are going to twist the dough over itself to just form a nice twist with the dough that gives it a really pretty shape. It just makes it look a little bit fancier. This one happens to be my favorite, but it does take a little bit longer, but it's definitely worth it. It's real pretty. And then bring the ends together and then gently pinch them together, and there you have it, your beautiful biscochito twist. So I'm going to show you one more time, just because that one is a little more intricate. So I'm going to show you again. You're going to roll your dough out on your counter very gently, remembering to make it longer this time. So twice the length that you had done for the other two. And then once you achieve the length that you're looking for, then you are going to gently take the dough and you are going to turn it on your counter to make the dough into parallel lines. And then you just take your dough and you're going to twist it over itself to form a nice, pretty twist. So just twist until you're all the way at the bottom of the dough, and then you're just going to bring the two dough ends together, and then you're going to just use a gentle little pinch to bring your biscochito together. It makes a really pretty design. This one happens to be my favorite, and it's the one that I'm going to use to make the rest of my biscochitos, but you can use whichever of the three designs you prefer and whichever you are most comfortable with. So now continue to shape your biscochitos one by one until you have formed your first 15 biscochitos, which should be enough for your first tray, remembering to leave a little bit of space in between the biscochitos to give them room to puff up just a little bit as they cook. So once your first 15 biscochitos have been shaped, it's time to give them an egg wash. So grab your egg and crack it into your small bowl, and then you're just going to beat the egg. I don't like to add water to this one because I just find that it gives it a really nice color when I leave my egg as is. So just give your egg a really nice beating, and once it's ready, then grab your pastry brush, and then you're going to use your pastry brush to give your biscochitos a nice coating of egg wash. This egg wash serves two purposes. It's going to give our biscochitos a really nice color and shine, plus it's going to help our topping stick to our biscochitos. So at this point, you need to grab either your nonpareils or your sesame seeds, depending on which one you are going to use. And so for this example, I'll show you a few of them with each. I prefer the nonpareils. It's actually the way that my grandmother and my mom made them for me as a child. So it's really nostalgic, and I really, really enjoy it that way. But the typical way is really with sesame seeds. So I'm going to show you how to do both. So just sprinkle a little on over that egg wash, and that's going to really help for them to stick on our biscochito and not fall off once they are baked. So I'm going to show you just 2 or 3 of them using sesame seeds, and then I'm going to use nonpareils for the rest because those are really my favorite. I really love the extra little crunch that you get with the nonpareils, and the colors are adorable. So it's a win-win. So once you've sprinkled on your topping of choice, your biscochitos are now ready to go into the oven. So put them in carefully, and once you've done so, set a 19-minute timer. Remember, every oven is different, so keep an eye on them towards the end of your timer, as you do not want them to burn. So as your first 15 biscochitos are baking, use that time to assemble your second batch of biscochitos. It should be just about the same time when your first 15 are ready and smelling absolutely delicious and ready to be pulled out of the oven when your second tray of biscochitos is ready to go in. So very carefully pull out your first tray, which is smelling absolutely incredible, and replace it with your second tray, remembering to set another 19-minute timer to let them bake. While your second batch is baking, take your biscochitos carefully off of the hot tray and place them on a cooling rack. They are smelling and looking absolutely incredible. So once the second 19 minutes have passed, then your second batch of biscochitos are ready to be pulled out of the oven. Pull them out as you did the first batch, and then carefully place them on another cooling rack to allow them to cool. Whatever shape you decided to go with and whatever topping you decided to use, your biscochitos will be looking absolutely incredible at this point. They are smelling delicious and they are oh so yummy. Tell me that these biscochitos don't look spectacular. Everyone is going to love them. They are so delicious and they are really a special treat. Look at how beautiful those biscochitos look, whether it be with your nonpareils or your beautiful sesame seeds. They are absolutely beautiful. So enough with the observing. Now to my favorite part, the tasting. Delicious. They are so delicious with just the right amount of sweetness and just the right amount of crispiness. They are so, so good. They are the perfect cookie. If your family doesn't plow right through them on the first day, then put them in an airtight container and leave them on your counter for you and your family to enjoy. They are delicious at any time of day. Now, how easy was that? These biscochitos are incredible. They come together real easy. They are absolutely beautiful and they are delicious. They are great to have with a cup of coffee in the morning or just to keep in a canister to have at any time or for company. These are a hit. You are going to love them. Trust me. No, better yet, don't trust me. You're going to have to try to make this recipe yourself. If you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like, comment, and share. But most importantly, remember to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on a single amazing recipe that I have planned for you. See you next time. Sally, that girl in the kitchen.